Alicia Gray is having a word with someone in the crowd, and now security is also involved.
It looks like that fan is being
Alicia Gray of the Atlanta Dream pointed at an Indiana Fever fan and claimed something happened, and security rushed to remove people, only for that story to completely fall apart when details didn't line up. And while the Dream scrambled with mixed narratives, the Fever were too busy making history, snapping a playoff drought in front of a roaring home crowd. The contrast was clear. One side spinning a lie, the other side spinning the scoreboard. That's not just embarrassing. It's the perfect setup for a Game 3 showdown you won't want to miss. If you support the Fever, then comment, "I've got the Fever." Let's go.
It's clear to us the WNBA does not appreciate fans, don't want us there. We have been thrown out of games for a multitude of ridiculous things. We have watched these players complain and trash us all. They called half of us racist. They've called all types of stuff. All types of stuff. Now, without Caitlin Clark, the viewership has been cut in half by 50%. 50% for the playoffs. For the playoffs, y'all. And they still are getting fans thrown out of games.
What exactly did Alicia Gray think she heard from the crowd that night? And why did it explode into such a mess? That's the part people still can't quite figure out. Because almost immediately after she made her gesture toward the Indiana section, the story went in several different directions. On live TV, you saw her turn, point, and signal to security. A few fans stood up, confused, and staff escorted them out while the broadcast quickly cut away from the camera. In that moment, it seemed like something big had happened. An accusation this bold in the middle of a playoff game set a tone that Atlanta wanted everyone to pick up on. Their star had been disrespected, their team had been wronged, and the focus needed to shift away from the scoreboard and onto the stands.
She got a fan kicked out last night against the Indiana Fever, only for the fan to speak their piece to the security. Security found out, oh, you didn't say anything at all, actually. Yeah, come back to your seat. Let me just wipe that seat off for you. Here, please, have a seat now. Alicia Gray played like absolute you-know-what last night and decided to take it out on a fan.
At first glance, you might think this was about some outrageous comment, something that would demand attention and removal. But the very next day, different outlets started describing it in completely different ways. Some described the interaction as nothing more than light heckling, the kind of thing every athlete hears during a tense game. Others hinted it was more personal and serious, though without offering clarity on what was actually said. That contrast immediately raised eyebrows. If you're going to remove fans from a playoff environment, shouldn't the details be consistent? Instead, what we had was a messy patchwork of descriptions, none of which matched what people inside the arena were sharing.
This is nuts. By the way, security brought this couple back in and apologized to them. All right, they removed the couple because they do it to let the players calm down, because it's clear these players aren't professionals. Here's what you owe us. You owe us at this point. Stop it. Stop it. So, she's now fully been exposed.
Eyewitness accounts started trickling out, and that's when the foundation of Gray's version began to crack. One person who sat near the incident swore the fan had only shouted, "You're good, Lex." She's not even trying anymore. Clearly directed as encouragement to Lexi Hull rather than anything nasty toward Gray. It wasn't vulgar. It wasn't threatening. It was standard sports talk. Yet somehow that benign comment managed to escalate to player frustration, a signal to security, and the distraction of removing paying fans from their seats. If that doesn't sound like a stretch, then what does?
And let's get this account of the situation. The guy in the black hat yelled to Lexi, who was running to guard Gray, and said, quote, "You're good, Lex." She's not even trying anymore. Gray lost her shit and said some very nasty words to the guy and the people next to him. Because he said she's not even trying anymore. She can't handle that kind of heckling. Are you kidding me? Quit sports today.
And this is where the entire narrative lost steam. Those fans who were removed didn't stay gone. Reports confirmed they were back in their seats later in the game, which says everything about how minor the offense truly was. If something serious had been said, security wouldn't ask you to take a quick timeout before letting you waltz right back. By the end of the night, the optics were undeniable. It looked less like an issue of bad fan behavior and more like a player who couldn't handle basic home court heckling in the middle of a blowout.
The guy did not say anything out of line whatsoever. They were let back in shortly after. When asked what happened, he said that they said it was protocol to remove the fan to allow the player to calm down. I mean, all these players ought to be playing in bozo outfits. Gray had a bad night, and there is no excuse for the things she said or the way she acted.
On social media, it grew instantly. Clips of the ejection circled. The phrases Gray had apparently claimed were quickly picked apart, and post-game chatter revealed how little sense they made. Fans pointed out inconsistencies. Commentators called it confusing. By Monday morning, the entire thing was labeled for what it appeared to be: a weak narrative to shift blame away from the Dream's poor performance.
Alicia Gray getting this fan kicked out, and of course, the internet went ablaze. Oh my God, those Indiana Fever fans! Blah, 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 blah. Of course, after the fake hoax of early this year with Angel Reese, Angel Smollett, some people are calling her. The fake race hoax, people were saying, oh my gosh, those Indiana Fever fans. What could they have possibly said? And the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going, and the rumor mill starts going.
When you step back, the whole episode worked against Atlanta. The lie, as fans started branding it, didn't stick. People were more interested in the resilience of the Fever than in Gray's attempt to redirect attention. Instead of sympathy, it made the Dream look rattled, while Indiana just looked tougher in every sense. And that's the perfect pivot, because while Gray was pointing to fans, the Fever was pointing to the scoreboard. And it was historic.
WNBA players, you guys are not ready for the big lights. You're not ready for the big lights. You're not ready. I could look you in your eyes and see you're not ready. Y'all can't handle people showing up to games. Y'all can't handle people actually being an interested, invested fan.
With 5 players in street clothes, how did Indiana manage to look sharper, hungrier, and more connected than the Dream? That's the part that shocked a lot of people. Caitlin Clark had just been ruled out for the season. Sophie Cunningham was unavailable. Sydney Carlson and Chloe BBY were sidelined, and AR McDonald couldn't go either. That's a chunk of your rotation wiped out. Headlined by the player who brought national attention and completely changed ticket sales for the league. For most teams in that position, especially in a must-win game, the mood would have been deflated. For Indiana, it was the exact opposite.
If there's anything I know, there's nothing like playoff basketball in Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Cool. We come to you from Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, the first home playoff game for the Fever since 2016. Need to win this to force a decisive Game 3.
Think about the pressure for a second. Game 1 slipped away in Atlanta, which meant Game 2 at Gainbridge wasn't optional. It was do or die. Add to that the fact this was the first home playoff game the Fever had hosted since 2016. The last time they'd seen the postseason here, Tama Catchings was still suiting up and Stephanie White was the one drawing up plays. You go from nearly a decade of absence, finally get a postseason game back, and then you lose your star. The tension was heavy, but the reaction from Indiana's roster showed something completely different than in Game 1.
Fever, go! Bow, bow, bow! Let's go! Fever! Go, Fever!
Let's go, Fever! Fever in 3!
Let's go! Hey out, baby! This is the
The atmosphere in the building matched the stakes. Red Now You Know shirts filled the lower sections, and the noise inside Gainbridge gave off the feel of a city hungry to make up for years of missing out. The crowd didn't just clap at big plays. They roared through defensive stands, responded to hustle moments, and carried themselves like they were a sixth player on the court. For a team short on depth, that extra energy became the difference. Even in the shootout, Coach White hammered it home. She said, "There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times."
There's a certain desperation that has to come with how you play every possession. I didn't feel like in game one we played with that desperate, mentality that we needed. Particularly when you look at 50-50 balls, when you look at how many times, we didn't get inside the three-point line for a defensive rebound and the ball hit the floor and they were able to get it. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times. We didn't have that consistently for 40 minutes in game one. I expect us to have it here tonight.
It wasn't lip service. She'd criticized the game one effort for lacking intensity, and the players clearly heard her. They didn't give the refs any excuse to influence the game. From the first quarter, their body language was different. Quicker rotations on defense, stronger box outs, and more willingness to share the ball. They didn't wait around for someone to carry them. They decided as a group it would take all of them. And then there was Caitlin on the bench. Instead, she was seen smiling, cheering, and standing on every defensive stop. The team fed off that visible support. Rather than sulking over what they lost, they carried her energy onto the floor.
Boston backing down Jones. Post moves, banks it in. Bow, bow, bow. Underway, it's 2-0 Fever through the first 20 seconds.
Bree Jones so crafty around the bucket. Good footwork. Little fadeaway there.
First bucket for Kelsey Mitchell, who's having a spectacular season.
Powers muscling it up. Good and one. There's the energy off the bench from Ariel Powers as she flexes.
That's how Indiana flipped a season-ending blow into one of the most uplifting nights in franchise history. It wasn't about who was missing. It became about who was willing to step up. And now that resilience leads right into the best part. The way their stars changed the entire game on the court.
Atlanta is very reactive on defense right now. They are not dictating the way that we saw them in game one, and credit the Fever for their level of aggressiveness.
Mitchell whips a pass, left block, Turner, extra touch, puts it in. Mitchell from the logo, pulls, top of the arc three, got it.
The exact moment the Fever slammed the door on Atlanta came late in the third quarter. And if you missed it, you'd almost think it was a normal run of play. It started with Aaliyah Boston going to work inside, muscling her way to a post score that reminded everyone she has the footwork and strength to control a possession on her terms. Before Atlanta could even reset, Shaw Petty jumped a passing lane, ripping away a steal that flipped the energy in the building. Just seconds later, with the clock ticking down, Lexi Hall launched a deep three at the buzzer. The shot dropped. The crowd exploded, and in that instant, the game's tone shifted completely.
Inside, Boston going to work, scores off the backboard. 8 seconds left in the third. Fever by a dozen. Now a steal in the backcourt. Mitchell in the corner, guarded by Gray. 4 seconds to go. Boston to Hull, left wing, fires a three. Good! Hull hits! With 0.3 to go in the third. Woo! Atlanta inbounds. That's it for the period. And the Fever are fired up. 59-44 with 10 minutes to play.
What had been a tense back and forth suddenly tilted one way, and Atlanta never recovered. Up until then, the dream was hanging around. The margin hovered in single digits, and Indiana still looked vulnerable despite their effort. Atlanta needed just one small run to pull within reach. That sequence crushed that hope, giving the Fever all the momentum and giving the home crowd a surge of adrenaline that bled right into the fourth quarter. It's one of those stretches you circle after a game, not just because of the points, but because of the energy it unleashed. From there, Indiana didn't let up. Kelsey Mitchell poured in 19 points, knocking down 4 threes that punished every defensive gamble Atlanta tried. When the Dream sagged to stop the paint, Mitchell made them pay from outside. When they pressed up, Her quick first step burned them off the dribble.
And they have allowed her in their half-court sets so far to just take open drive to the rim. There's the three.
And fans didn't appreciate how good Kelsey Mitchell is, and they're certainly getting an eyeful this year. Here she goes. She's guarded by Teddy. Takes it right to the basket and misses. It's a hit for Mitchell.
Beside her, Aaliyah Boston's steady 15 points and 5 rebounds gave balance on both ends. She wasn't flashy, but she was reliable. And every time Indiana needed a bucket to keep control, she delivered. Clip 16. Natasha Howard might not have grabbed the headlines, but her two-way impact was obvious. With 12 points in the box score and countless altered shots on defense, Howard was the glue.
Stephanie White wants to see her go downhill, be more aggressive offensively. This is a great matchup. Boston against Jones.
Just a fun matchup between two big posts with size, with good anything.
Boston up, under, and in.
Then there was Lexi Hull, who did more than just hit that buzzer beater. She brought energy and locked down defense on Gray, diving for loose balls and spacing the floor in ways that forced Atlanta to adjust.
Both teams around that 40% mark. They didn't hit that in game one, and that's a good way to go for Natasha Howard. Gray goes down. What is she? Good patience by Howard. Mitchell bounce pass, Natasha Howard, and it rolls in.
Howard has had great activity tonight.
And don't overlook rookie Michaela Timpson. 9 crucial points in limited minutes. Composure beyond her years, and exactly the kind of lift you rarely get from a first-year player in a playoff atmosphere.
Got a size advantage on Jordan Canada, so she can use her length, even though Jordan Canada has the advantage in quickness.
Terrific cut by Hull and a good find.
Good shot there by Pow. You never think it's the youngest player on the team that gets you settled in on offense.
But they're not getting the stops you asked about.
The defense, though, is what sealed it. Atlanta, a team used to scoring much higher, managed just 60 total points. They shot under 38% from the field and finished a miserable 5 for 9 from behind the arc. Indiana turned the screws down possession by possession, contesting shots, finishing defensive plays with box outs, and limiting the Dream to only 10 total free throws. Every role player bought into the plan. Aerial Powers used her size to slow Atlanta's wings, and Brianna Turner fought in the trenches to close off interior looks. It was the definition of a team effort. No one relaxing, no one looking for shortcuts.
Petty dishes, middle of the paint, Timpson pivoting, Timpson around the defender, shot, good, and one! And this one was worth the wait. Final score, Fever 77, Dream 60. And we will talk to you on Thursday night in Atlanta.
Boston summed it up afterward, pointing to those hustle moments as the difference, while Mitchell highlighted the electricity from the crowd after that third quarter run. Their words matched what everyone saw on the floor. A unified group responding to adversity with toughness. By the time the final horn sounded, the scoreboard told the entire truth. 77-60. A statement that Indiana wasn't just surviving injuries, they were thriving. Now, the question becomes whether this same balance and intensity can travel into Atlanta for the deciding Game 3, where the season's fate rests in 40 minutes. The Fever just showed the entire league they can win without Caitlin Clark. But the question is whether they can do it again when the environment flips. Game 3 in Atlanta isn't just another playoff game. It's survival. One team gets to move forward to see either Las Vegas or Seattle. The other one gets sent home to wonder how it got away so fast. Every possession matters now.
Great job! That was a masterclass on the defensive end of the game. Hell yeah, ladies, hell yeah. It really was. It really was. I mean, I'm so proud of you. Stepped up to the challenge, back against the wall, and our back is against the wall every fucking game. But y'all, look, I'm proud of you. We ain't finished though, right? We ain't finished. KK, way to be ready. Yeah! The second half, your aggressiveness, it was a difference maker. And what it opens up with the gravity that you create is huge for us. You gotta stay aggressive. Hell yeah,
For Indiana, the challenge is Titans. Atlanta just came off one of their worst showings of the year, with only 60 points on 37.9% shooting, with a miserable 5 for 19 from 3. You can bet they're going to walk into their own arena looking to erase that memory. Desperation is the natural response after a blowout. And when you add in a home crowd that's itching to help them forget Game 2, Indiana has to be prepared for a far more aggressive look from the Dream. So, how does the Fever handle it? They have to bring back that same suffocating defense. The assignment is clear. Limit Ryan Howard and Alicia Gray the way they did together. Those two were stuck at just 19 combined points. A far cry from their output in Game 1. Without those buckets, Atlanta struggled to keep pace, and Indiana never let them back in. Replicating that effort isn't optional. It's survival.
Steph holding them to 60 points today. What did you see that was so effective from you guys defensively and really turned this game?
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge. We played good enough defense down there, and our offense just couldn't get going, and we were able to get it going on both sides tonight. I continue to just be so proud of this group and their resilience, their toughness, and their ability to respond.
Matchups will play a huge role. Kelsey Mitchell has to maintain her rhythm against a perimeter defense that will put more pressure on her. Aaliyah Boston faces another heavy test in the paint, knowing Atlanta will feed their bigs more touches, trying to drag her into foul trouble. And then there's Michaela Timpson. If her 9-point spark wasn't a fluke, repeating that kind of rookie poise in a deciding game could tilt the balance again. The elephant in the room is energy. With Clark Cunningham and others out, there's no margin to pace themselves. Can this short-handed group really push for 40 minutes in a hostile building? It might come down to X factors. Lexi Hall's timely shooting, Natasha Howard's two-way grind, and Aerial Powers provided a boost defensively. All three could swing the night. Game 3 isn't just about one win. It's the opportunity to shed the label of rebuilding project and announce themselves as a true championship contender. And no matter the outcome, the meaning of this moment stretches even further forward, especially given the adversity the team had to deal with this year.
Kelsey, going into a do-or-die Game 3, what excites you about that opportunity as a competitor?
I think it will be a really good challenge for us. I think, obviously we want to win a game and they want to win a game, so I think somebody has to lose and somebody has to win, obviously. But I think that we take tonight for what it is and start mentally preparing once it hit 12 o'clock and being able to go into what's important for Thursday. And so, like I said, it's a big opportunity tonight, but you gotta let it be the moment and let it kind of fuel you for Thursday, but you gotta move on.
Alicia Gay's moment with the crowd won't be remembered for long. What sticks is Indiana turning a season of setbacks into their first playoff win in nearly a decade. That's the story fans will carry forward. The Fever have already proved they can fight through injuries and still look like a serious playoff team. Imagine what this same group looks like in 2026 with Caitlin Clark back healthy, surrounded by Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and a deeper bench. Game 3 is more than a decider. It's a chance at round 2 to make history again and to remind everyone the scoreboard never lies. If you support the Fever, then comment, "I've got the Fever." Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out.